There's something very special about a live rehearsal with a group of real people in a room where you can feel their emotions and thoughts and connect in a very vivid, way. It's harder through the screen.
There was a very clear mix of film, TV, and theater. So with theater, you obviously often rely on the audience reaction, and through what's beautiful about theater is you have a process and then it's kind of set, and you are kind of your own director once the director leaves, and you get that whole process to play. In this process, similar to film, day one, we did our entire process, and day two, it was like we already had to be in the final stages of where our character was supposed to be.
I felt that Meg's dream was a heroic one, to want to continue to do art and bring people together and, cherish a community of artists that can continue to do what we love, even under very unusual circumstances.
Scheduling, a lot of it is about scheduling. And with this one, it was a little difficult because we weren't really sure how long things were gonna take us. So a lot of it was, one of the big differences in between doing a real show versus this show is that if somebody's internet wasn't working or a technical glitch would happen, then, it would really, change our day. And it was all about being really flexible and understanding of this like new technology element to the process and making sure that it didn't keep us from finishing what we wanted to do.
We weren't entirely sure what our jobs were going to entail going into this because like Julie was saying, our jobs are just so different, like in person in the actual space, like working with props, scenery, like just that alone is so much different. So we were kind of like, all right, so what's going to be like our main like task that we need to look out for each day of rehearsal? And then as we started going, Julie had a great idea of making a document that's called things we learned. So that way for future shows, we can just jot it down like, oh yeah, we should think about doing this now. We should think about doing this. And the document's pretty lengthy now, which is great. But like for the first week, we just, the cast learned music. And so that right there was different because normally when you're in the space, everyone kind of gathers around a piano and they like, the music director will pluck like each person's part, and then like after everyone has their part, we all come together and they sing it all together. But unfortunately, you can't do that with this process because of the delay with Zoom. So each person is kind of like responsible to do their like homework, and then at the end of the week they recorded all their music after they had a bunch of questions with our amazing music director Sean Mays.
It was truly a process of humility in terms of how you enter a room as an artist, how you engage in the work, how you engage others in the work, and so we knew it was going to be different, right? There was no world in which we were coming into this. Like, we're doing it, the whole thing from home. And I remember even those few days of leading up to rehearsals, having prepared, and then when rehearsals were actually upon us. And I remember thinking, oh my God, like, I've thought about, great, this is a process I can try, I can do this and see if this works over Zoom. And then I remember getting to like the 11th hour, even the night before, and I'm just like, this is like, is this gonna work?
It's pretty crazy, the amount of work that goes into these virtual productions. And I think that it's honestly a really helpful experience for the artist to experience, just so we can really understand how much work lighting designers and editors and audio people do. All the work that we don't necessarily have to think about once we do our jobs, we had to take on those jobs for ourselves. So I think just like the setup and learning the tech was probably the most difficult part.
It takes a village, and the girls being brave enough to dive into the technical challenge and raise their hand and go, I need help, and help. And us even having to say, we don't know how to help you, but we'll figure it out, you know, and we all jump on research and Google and try to figure it out together. So it was a different kind of collaboration, but it always takes longer than you think it's going to. If you think you can do something fast, give yourself 30 more minutes, because in the world of technology, as you learn, it's unpredictable.
We're working on Zoom, so we are going to be on a box. And I started dealing with what is like, I love movement, right? So all of a sudden it's like, what is the possibility of that? If my arm is here, do I play with this? My focus, where does it go? How do I use that? And like all that could become.
The idea of syncing is crucial. Like for the post-production, you have to sync it up. But there hasn't been enough time for us to really like research this. We were kind of in this age of guinea pigs in this new virtual world. So, you know, there'd be certain songs where we come in 5 minutes into the song, but to sync in, we all have to clap at the beginning. So you clap, you're listening, you're waiting, and then you miss your entrance and you've just wasted 5 minutes of your time and you have to go back to the beginning. So that was very frustrating in the beginning.
Everyone was a trooper. And I think we took that challenge. And I think that, you know, I remember saying at one point, you know, you are in your own space, but in your mind, envision that you're there as much as you can with everybody else as you're doing this, so that you can get that feeling of communication and connection.
We're so beyond every cheat.